Colorado is known for its majestic mountains, but don't forget about the magnificent plains. We're going to show you a place you can go for a little trip back in time. Plus, some seniors staying active as they age, a library innovation, and one man's crazy fish story on this edition of Connected Colorado. Wendy Brockman at the Plains Conservation Center, where they're gearing up for their big spring and summer season. We're going to give you a sneak peek on this later in the show. But first off, do you have somewhere where you can unwind, maybe go offline? You're going to meet a guy at the Aurora Reservoir who knows that good things come to those who bait.
I'm an early morning guy, so I love being out here early in the morning. It's almost like having the lake to yourself. There ain't nobody else in the world but you and the fish.
People ask me, when's the best time to go fishing? My reply, whenever you can. Whenever you can is the best time. Hundreds at least, maybe thousands. Yeah, you know, when you come out 2-3 times a week, and I've been fishing here for, like I said, over 20 years since the thing opened.
To have what's called your home lake, this is my home lake. I can come out here and fish and never get skunked. I always catch fish.
And this particular jerkbait will go down 4 to 8 feet, and then it'll suspend. Ah! I had a bite. Start out early in the morning with the jerkbait. A week ago, I was out here and landed 6 fish doing this. So sometimes it is still productive. It just depends on the weather and the fish's move.
That's the biggest thing, have fun. I told you earlier, I used to go home mad because I couldn't catch a keeper walleye over 18 inches. And my wife told me, why don't you just fish for the reason you started, because you enjoy it. If you catch a keeper fish, fine. You want to bring it home and eat it, we'll cook it and eat it. If not, just enjoy what you're doing. And that's what I tell people, enjoy what you're doing.
And it's a walleye too. So let me get up here and get my net, and it's another walleye. Another walleye, another walleye. God did them a disservice, because they don't fight very well, but darn do they taste good. And that's actually how he met my mom. There's another one. 64 fish. Walleye was my best day, and he's probably about a 17-incher also. So we're gonna let him go. Go away, Mr. Walleye. There you go, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Don't lose him. Catch him, land him, get him in the net. It's just the excitement of, yeah, I outsmarted that dumb fish. For an old man, that's pretty good to outsmart a dumb fish.
There he is. We got him. My father and my grandfather. Yeah, they got me into it. It was kind of cool.
They'd really be proud that I'm still out here, still fishing, something that they taught me to do, and I've, you know, enhanced on it, improved on it. And I just wish they were here with me, you know.
When you're out here, you don't even have to catch fish to enjoy the day. Just being out here in a day like this, the water's, you know, calm. It's not too hot right now, not too sunny, not noisy except for me talking. And when I'm alone, there's no talking.
I spent some time in the Army, 20 years. I did a tour in Vietnam, so I know what it's like to get shot at. I know what it's like to shoot at people. We need to quit all of that. We need to just enjoy what the Lord gave us, and that's what I'm trying to do right now.
Come on, Mr. Perch. I know you're a perch. There he is. Nice eager perch. People who are all stressed out, they need to take up fishing. Don't you do that. I want to see if you're spitting up any crawdads. Yep, there you go. Buy you a little boat. Come on out here. Enjoy life. Thank you, Mr. Perch. I appreciate that. Doesn't get any better than this.
I got the best fishing right here in the state of Colorado as far as I'm concerned. Think I got a crawdad. I do. You want a crawdad? There's no fish in Aurora Reservoir. Everybody stay away. Crawdad eating my worm.
I think the key is talking to the fish. That's how he's luring them in. They have everything from catfish to trout there. It's just a great place to go. Reading is a great pastime too, whether it's for recreation or education or both. And in some cities like Broomfield, it's gotten even easier and more fun. The library has gone fine-free.
In 2019, Broomfield Library will be going fine-free for all patrons. Fine-free basically is going to mean any overdue fine that somebody could accrue on a late material or something that they just don't get in quite on time, just those what we call punitive fines, they will no longer be in effect. So we're just basically trying to get away from nickel and diming our community and trusting them that they will hold themselves accountable to bring the materials that they borrow from us back. Frankly, fines, if you look at the research, don't really have the effect that people think they do. Like, fines are not going to encourage people to bring things back on time. There's just no real proven data to show that fines work in that way, and that's kind of always been their purpose. The bigger thing for us, though, is we believe, as most libraries do, in providing equity of access. And when you have barriers in place, and fines can be that barrier for families that maybe have low income or seniors that are on fixed income, those fines become a barrier to people accessing library services and programs. And that's just not who we want to be. For the amount of revenue it was bringing in, which was 1.6% of our total budget, it just wasn't worth us passing that along to our patrons. We just didn't want to do that. With that, I do have to say we will still have fees if people don't return a book. So we are still holding people accountable, for lack of a better word, that you do have to bring the materials back. So after 30 days, you do get billed for that book. So there is still a process in place to kind of guarantee that people will use us appropriately. We're just not gonna, penalize them for life happening. And so we want to give a little more grace there to our patrons and trust them that they're gonna use us appropriately.
Great idea, Broomfield. Well, joining me now at the Plains Conservation Center in Aurora is Joy Thompson. She's one of the naturalists and the supervisor here. Hi, Joy.
Hi, Wendy.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here.
This place is beautiful. It really is an amazing piece of property with fascinating history. What is the Plains Conservation Center?
So Plains Conservation Center is part of the City of Aurora's Open Space and Natural Resources Division. We are on 1,100 acres of shortgrass prairie, and Plains Conservation Center exists as a place for people to come and learn a little bit about the history of the shortgrass prairie, to learn about the nature, the ecology, the wildlife that's here, and also about the people that used to live in this part of the country.
Not an easy life for them. 1880s, roughly, very little water out here. Short prairie grass, so there's no trees or shade or wind protection or anything. I mean, this was roughing it back in the day, yes?
This was roughing it, and like you said, without trees, they had to come up with a way to find shelter. And they did that through sod. And they did that by cutting bricks of sod using what's called a grasshopper plow. And they cut bricks of sod, lay them one on top of another until they had a dwelling.
Layers and layers of dirt.
Absolutely.
That's their home.
Absolutely. And if you think about that, what comes with dirt? Well, wind blows dirt around, you've got dirt inside your house all the time. If it rains or snows, you've got mud. And of course, you've got critters that love to take up residence in your home. So it is difficult to imagine what pioneers did have to tolerate in order to be able to live in this part of the country during that time.
Every time I drive by, I see different animals. How many different animals do you guys have here?
Oh gosh, well, it depends on how you define the animal. So in terms of wildlife, lots of different species. The pronghorn, which most people call antelope, coyotes as well. Of course, prairie dogs, although they're not big, they're pretty plentiful out here. Lots of different kinds of birds. We have red-tailed hawks out here. We do have great horned owls on the property and a pair of bald eagles that has shown nesting behavior in one of our natural areas.
It's fun when you guys have the sheep out here too.
Absolutely, and that's the other type of animals that we have is the more domestic animals. And those are the ones that we keep down here in the Sod Village. We have them to teach people a little bit about agriculture, about where food comes from, and about what it would take to care for these animals, whether in the 1800s or now. People can come and participate in an animal feeding program where they'll get to see what goes into the feeding, they'll get to do a little bit of feeding, and get to become a little bit closer to some of the animals that at some point provide us with food.
And you've had some babies born here.
We have had some babies born here. We did have a baby donkey born here last year, and sheep as well.
The donkeys protect the sheep too, isn't that interesting?
That is correct. One of the things that we have going on in our natural area is we use sheep in a way to mimic grazing that would have happened by bison in order to get rid of things like noxious weeds.
So you guys partner with Denver Botanic Gardens for some educational programs?
Correct. Denver Botanic Gardens is primarily responsible for our school program here. So we have school kids from throughout the metro area that come out here to learn about Colorado history and prairie ecology. And Denver Botanic Gardens organizes those programs, gets those kids out here, and actually does the programming. They do wagon rides every other Saturday where people can come out, go out on the prairie, and then come down here to the Sod Village and learn a bit about it. Our team also does public programs out here as well. So later on this summer, we're doing a program on edible and medicinal plants out here. We're also doing a program on great horned owls. We do have a garden here too that actually does grow real crops. We have volunteers from Denver Botanic Gardens and from our Open Space Natural Resource Volunteer Steward team that help with the planting, that help with the weeding and the watering, and will help make that garden something that can be incorporated into programming that we do throughout the year.
The history of this actual property is pretty amazing, isn't it? What's a flower bomb?
It's very interesting. So Plains Conservation Center does have quite a fascinating history. It actually started in the 1930s when this was a property owned by the West Arapahoe Soil Conservation District, which existed to teach farmers and agriculture how to responsibly manage the land after the Dust Bowl. And then in the 1950s and 60s, it was part of the Lowry bombing range where, yes, flower bombs were dropped on the site, and it's basically a bomb made out of baking flour. So nothing that goes boom or causes explosions, but they were dropped onto towers for target practice on this site. And the bases of the towers are still out in the natural area on the property.
That's amazing. So the public's invited. Come out, hike
Absolutely.
around, and just get a taste of nature.
Absolutely. Plains Conservation Center is open from noon to 4:30 Wednesday through Friday and 9 to 4:30 on Saturday and Sunday. People can come out, they can go for a walk, they can come into our visitor center, they can just come out and enjoy some nature. And we're coming into spring, and is it going to be beautiful out here with all the snow we've had? We're really excited to see what wildflowers end up growing on this property. It will be amazing. So I highly recommend that people do come out and check out Plains Conservation Center for a place to get in touch with nature and the prairie.
Yep. I can hear the birds. I feel chill just being out here. Thank you, Joy. I hope tons of people come out and check this out. It really is amazing.
You're welcome. It is a very special site.
When you come out, make sure you check out their visitor center too. In Arvada at the Majestic View Nature Center, they want to teach you all about water conservation.
If the Earth is 70% water, why do we have to conserve water? That's a good question. Let's take a look. Say this 5-gallon bucket of water represents all the water on Earth. How much do you think is available for humans? First, let's take out 2 1/4 cups. This represents all the fresh water on Earth, and it amounts to just 3% of the Earth's water. Everything left in the bucket represents the 97% of salt water on the Earth. From our 2 1/4 cups of fresh water, we still can't use all of it. We need to remove 1 1/2 cups. It represents all the water stored in polar ice caps and glaciers. Even if these melt, they melt into salt water and are unusable. So, of all the water in our 5-gallon bucket, we've got just 3/4 of a cup of fresh water left. But even that isn't all water we can use. We need to take out 1/4 cup, which represents the water in the atmosphere or soil. This water is too complex to filter out to use. The remaining 1/2 cup represents all the groundwater and fresh surface water. Even most of this is unreachable or unusable water. We either can't get to the water sources easily, or we need it to stay in our lakes and streams to keep those full and flowing for those ecosystems. So we'll take 5 drops from that 1/2 cup. Those 5 drops represent the amount of fresh water available for humans to use. Just 5 drops out of 5 gallons. That's why we need to conserve and care for our water supply. This small amount of water is for all living things, plants and wildlife, not just humans. What can you do to help conserve water? Complete a water conservation checklist around your home with your family. If you bring a completed checklist to the Nature Center, you will get a prize for being water wise. For more amazing facts about water and how to conserve it, visit the Majestic View Nature Center at 7030 Garrison Street in Arvada, or check us out online at arvada.org/nature.
So important to conserve. Well, speaking of our environment, last time on Connected Colorado, we showed you all about a brand new development in Denver being planned as a smart city. Well, what about the rest of the city that's already been built? Let's take a look.
Denver is going through some growing pains.
Denver is an attractive place to live. As a city grows, you end up with more and more density, and as a result of that density, you can end up with greater and greater problems that detract from quality of life.
Everybody knows we've gone through a huge population boom. So we have more people in our streets, we have 100,000 people a day leaving Denver, and we have 200,000 people a day coming into Denver.
Transportation is the #1 source of air pollution in the city, and the #2 source of greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to climate change.
Denver's typically one of the top 10 smoggiest cities in the country, and we also have 1 out of 10 people in Denver has asthma.
But what if we could fix these problems by making our city smarter?
A city is going to be dense by definition, so a smart city is one that takes advantage of the density, it takes advantage of all the information that we have available to us and the technology in that density to improve quality of life.
Denver's Department of Public Works, Department of Environmental Health, Technology Services, and the Mayor's Office are working together to make our city a smart city.
A smart city to me means that you are looking at the new technology and asking the question, how can we get this technology to solve a problem that we have, or how can we make the city safer?
Using new technology to make our traffic smarter.
The traffic signal controller is able to transmit messages that come out up through a radio that sits out at the intersection and can connect to a unit that's in the vehicle. Between the 3 units, you have a relationship of the connected vehicle to the intersection to the infrastructure. Soon vehicles will know how to talk to each other. They'll be able to take safety messages from each other, provide warnings, anticipate traffic, weather, and make this overall safety operation much more improved.
And putting that technology to the test.
We are doing a living lab, and if you know where the Wellington Webb building is at, within a 6 intersection radius of this building, we are actually building out that technology. So what that's going to consist of is, if you were to look on the street, you're going to see these large, almost refrigerator in size looking traffic cabinets. Within those traffic cabinets, that has the technology and that basically interconnects these things like cameras and different sensors such that we can analyze the traffic at a given intersection. It's not just vehicles, it could be pedestrians, bicyclists, freight, as well as the City and County of Denver maintenance vehicles. So the more we have an understanding for what that flow is moving throughout Denver and our neighborhoods, we can make that a more positive experience.
These living labs that allow us to experiment with technology in really isolated ways, see whether they have any value, and then move on from there.
Being a smart city is about more than fancy gadgets. It's about changing the way we look at our city.
What we're doing is we're thinking about using technology and innovation to solve real problems to our citizens' lives. Photo Voices is a way to use a medium, photography, to have a direct connection between the people who are out on our streets directly with city leaders. I think often when we think of community engagement, we think of them in terms of public meetings. We think about projects that are already in process, and Denver Smart City really talks about speeding up the process between coming up with an idea and delivery. So we have a real opportunity with teens to say, what do you like about your neighborhood? What can you change?
We have to cross the train tracks to get to the grow house, and that's sometimes a problem because the train is in the way.
Smart city initiatives deliver real change.
What this young photographer did is captured why tracks like this are so challenging barriers throughout Globeville area and Swansea. The result, this project here for the bond election has $12 million in it to build a bridge, a walk bridge and a bicycle bridge so that kids can be safe when crossing over. It'll be $12 million. And it's the composition of this photo and other young people who identified the dangers here that motivated the city to add this to the bond issue. So this is a very, very insightful, special picture.
I think that's really cool that I could actually make an impact.
A smart city can change the way people think about using technology that will make their city healthier.
Information is hugely important. If someone with asthma or even a normal child understands that it's a poor air quality day outside, there's a lot of things that they can do to help prevent them from high exposure to air pollution. And so one of the projects we're doing right now is to deploy very small air quality monitors throughout the city so that we have hyper-local information so that you know at your school when you're going to class what the air pollution is going to be that day. Maybe you can do a different activity at recess or you can change something in your schedule to lessen your exposure.
Initiatives like these are just the beginning as Denver continues to be a smart city.
Denver will always be an exciting place to live, I think, because it's a sort of wide open, Wild West kind of city where you can come in from almost anywhere and make a great career for yourself. That demand that's been created isn't going to go away. To think otherwise would be foolish, and to hope otherwise would actually be really bad. I think we've seen what happens to cities that stagnate and don't have any draw or any influx of new ideas. Anytime you have a city as great as Denver, people are going to want to move there. When they move here, that's going to create problems and challenges that we perhaps are unaccustomed to dealing with. And smart city technology and smart city approaches are ways in which we can deal with them to mitigate the negative effects that come with all the positives about moving here.
Nice job, Denver. Just as we need to take care of the environment, though, we need to take care of our bodies, especially as we age. At a recreation center in Durango, some seniors show us how it's done.
I'm Dwayne Heidenreich. I've been in Durango for about 12 years, and I've been working out at the rec center for about 12 years. I swim 2 days a week. I go to this exercise class 2 days a week. Keeps me going. I've been swimming all my life, and so I just love swimming. So when I came here and there was a rec center, I just came, and early in the morning is when there's nobody else around, and it's a really great time to come and swim. I swim about 1/4 mile. When I'm swimming, I really feel better than normal if I'm, better than after I've been sitting down for a while, as a matter of fact. This class was called a transformation class. You're supposed to transform yourself into something better. I'm maintaining, as a matter of fact, been doing this for about, I think, 6, 7 years, something like that, from the class first started. That sounded like a good place to come and gives me a place to exercise twice a week on this. Instructor Brian is great. I mean, he makes us do, just a little more than what we normally would be able to do. And he says, oh, come on, you can do this. and so we try it. I can do just about everything except the heavy weights. I use a lighter weight and the balance. I have a little trouble with the balance, but I can do most of the other moving around exercises. I'm about 3 times as old as a lot of people in the class, 4 times as old as a few of them. By the time we've had an hour in the class, we're not sleepy anymore, then we're tired.
I'm Buddy Bertrand, and I am 76, going on 20. I come to the rec center 5 days a week to work out to help improve my physical being. I've had back surgeries, multiple back surgeries, and I have multiple sclerosis, and I have all kinds of strange little things you get when you're 76 years old. I do the treadmill, and I do just various strengthening exercises. I really think I need to work on my balance. I have improved from standing at a 45-degree angle to about a 65, I guess, and I work out 5 days a week with a trainer. His name is Brian Miller. He's wonderfully positive, and he works me right to the edge. He knows how to do that. I don't know how he knows, but he knows when I can do something. I'll do something, he'll say, one more, buddy, one more. I'm thinking, I can't do one more, but I do it. I love coming here. I just love it because it gets me going, and it, you know, an hour and a half every morning is good. I feel alive. You know, I feel like I've done something, and I go on for my day. I'm energized by it. You know, I think that the days I don't come for one reason or another, it's just another day. It just, you know, I don't have the energy. It gives me energy to be here.
My name is David Bishop, and I will be turning 86 in a few days. I come to the rec center 5 days a week. 3 of those days are in the master swimming, and 2 days I come to do weight work and such. Swimming is a great delight to me because my body feels better afterwards. I don't have the soreness in my body after I get out. I don't have the injuries to my body swimming as I do in running, say with your feet, your knees, and so forth. There is that little feeling in one's mind that I don't want the person next to me swimming faster than I swim. And so I believe, in a way, a swimmer gets better because of the swimmers next to them. You just don't say, I'm just going to take it easy on this lap. When that person shoots out for it, then you're going to shoot right after. After the workout, I really don't feel tired. I feel like I've accomplished something that felt good in doing it. And I don't look forward because I have to go. I say, I get to go swimming.
I started exercising when I was 40 years old because I started looking around at my friends and they were not very strong. And I just decided that maybe later on in life I would need my body to be in good form for my age. Sherry Libby, and I'm 82 years old. And I come here to the rec center 3 times a week for Terry Oliver's strength endurance training class. Terry Oliver and I have been friends for as long as this center has been open. I first asked her, do you think I could do your class, Terry? And she said, well, if you modify. So there are times when I modify, but I think today I really pushed myself because I could. I'm not a fond person of burpees, but I will do a few of them just to prove that I can. But most of the exercises I totally enjoy. They give me strength and keep me well. And this class are a lot younger than I am, but they keep me going because they accept me as one of them. If you're happy with happy people around you, I think you just encourage people to come more often because it's a happy place to be. That's why I come. And I've been coming here now for about 15 years and enjoy every minute of the day that I come here. It's going to keep me happier in life and stronger.
Thanks to those amazing seniors for sharing their stories with us. Thanks to the Plains Conservation Center for having us. It is definitely worth a visit. Thank you for watching. We're going to see you next time on Connected Colorado. We're going to show you a cool place that takes you back in time, some seniors staying active, more on smart cities, and we're going fishing on the next edition of Connected Colorado.